Had a little listen to his podcast, huh?
Dude, it's educational. And besides, I've been wanting to listen to this one.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, a podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fanfiction it inspires. I'm Kasey.
I'm Sandra, and listeners are in for a real treat today. You all get a cookie. CookieMom6067 is a multi-fandom creator and has been posting podfics for Stargate Atlantis to Supernatural to Star Trek for over 15 years, from what I could find. She started back in the golden era of LiveJournal and currently has over 700 podfics on AO3 for listeners to enjoy. Her goal? Express gratitude and love to everyone who enriches her life in the free exchange, doing it because I love it world of fandom. She succeeded in spades. She should be the one getting all the cookies. We're amazed by her aural awesomeness and can't wait to discuss her fandom contributions. So, thanks for joining us and welcome to the podcast, Cookie.
Welcome!
Hello, I'm happy to be here.
Excellent.
I'm excited. We're excited. You are our first podficker to come on.
And you're my first podcast. So
yay. Well, then there's a lot of firsts.
It's really weird to be talking to the mic as myself, I gotta say.
You know what I found, and this is really interesting. And I mean, this happens across the board, I think, in fandom, just in general. But usually when I do an initial ask, and I just, find out from maybe different fanfic authors or artists or whatever, if they would like to come on and chat, they usually, it's about a 50-50 mix of like, sure. And then some people like, oh no, that's too out of my wheelhouse and I'm not comfortable, which of course I understand. But it's also interesting because a podficker or two that I have reached out to, they are really not, they just seem like they're not comfortable with talking as themselves, on a podcast kind of a situation. Like, I guess that little mask or veil or whatever, like, it's a boundary that I think some people are not quite comfortable with. So I appreciate that you were comfortable with coming on and chatting with us as yourself about your journey.
Absolutely.
In fandom. This is a little different because again, you are you're into lots of different fandoms. So Supernatural is not your oh my God, like for Kasey and I, we just absolutely like all the time. We've created a podcast about it. So that's obviously, an indication.
Not currently, but
I had to be told to read the document. My days. I had to be told to read the document beforehand this time. Cassandra was like, this is not our usual questions. You should probably look at that before we get started. Because I'm very, very famous for not free reading anything. I just turn up and I'm like, cool, what are we doing? Bitches, let's go. And she was like, no, you need to read this one. And I read it and I was like, okay, tone down the supernatural insanity. Cool, right. Multi-fandom, guys.
But I mean, it sounds like you've had quite a long journey just in fandoms in general. Because I did my research. I went back because, when I heard LiveJournal, I was like, okay, let me go back into the place that I don't visit unless I have to, because for me, that's not my start in fanfic world. So I found you had postings that went back to like 2008, and I think it was a fic about Stargate Atlantis. So I guess my question is like, when did you first get sucked into just like any fandom? Like, when did the fandom stuff start for you? I'm sure it didn't start at 2008. I'm just guessing it went for a little bit further.
I'm almost afraid to say the year.
Oh, no. You could say the decade. Well, how about that?
There's kind of an ageist thing that goes on in fandom.
Absolutely.
But it was the 70s, actually. And I was a little tiny squirt. And I got into Star Trek in a big way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my best friend and I used to do, I would say, aural fanfic.
Okay.
We would kind of cover it with a veneer of, I had a dream last night about Captain Kirk. And it was all self-insert, of course. And that really continued for 3 or 4 years. Different friends joined and different fandoms joined and all of that stuff. But kind of through Star Trek, I was really into Star Trek Enterprise, which to me didn't have the relationships that I really craved. So I was Googling and I found a fanfic archive. I don't even know. I think it was like the Warp 5 complex.
Okay.
And from there was a member of the cast of Stargate Atlantis that was on Star Trek Enterprise. So I kind of moved over to Stargate Atlantis and was very heavily into that for a number of years before I figured out that all these links on this Stargate Atlantis archive led to LiveJournal. So that's when I went to LiveJournal itself.
Okay.
And started posting. And it's kind of, I've been racking my brain for a week because the next fandom was Supernatural.
Okay.
And I don't honestly remember what the path was.
Okay.
Except that I came in through RPF.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
So it was originally Jared Jensen.
Gotcha.
Not Sam and Dean or Dean and Castiel or whatever. And then got into the show itself. And my son and I were kind of really obsessed with the show. We joined it after it had started, I would say season 3, maybe. So we caught up on the early days of streaming when you had to buy the shows from Amazon and there was no Amazon Prime, so to speak. But we did stream the shows from there. But I was very heavily into Supernatural for, I'm thinking, 4 or 5 years from that point.
Okay.
So I'm kind of, I flip, I see something in media that kind of grabs my attention and then that's my fandom for a while.
Gotcha.
And I kind of hyperfixate.
So, I mean, when you say bouncing, but I mean, it sounds like once you bounce, you're kind of in that fandom for a while. Does there tend to be overlap in your fandoms?
Yes.
Like, will you rubber band back into something and then kind of like maybe leave it again for a while? So are they like your tried and
definitely.
true? Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
I think you can kind of see that on my podficking that I kind of, of late, it's been a shift between the old guard, Star Trek, and Marvel. So I kind of bounce back and forth mainly between those three.
Okay.
But a lot of it's driven by what people comment on.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm just looking at your AO3 now. That is a hella list of works and fandoms. Good Lord. That's so many.
When you're talking about fandom from like way back, because my fandom roots, I think for me started in like the 80s. I kind of went hard. Like, I think it was like maybe like early 80s is when like, my puberty hit and everything started like early 80s for me. So when you talked about like the aural fics and stuff. So like, did you do a lot of fanfic, sort of any type of writing too? Because I know you have written some, but it sounds like you don't write as much. But when you're talking about what you did with fellow fans, was it kind of like just building a story together as you're just like chatting about it? Okay.
Yeah. And it was usually, one person had their story that they were going on and we'd all listen and comment. And unfortunately, or maybe not unfortunately, lost to the ethers because nobody wrote anything down.
Well, yeah, you didn't have to worry about the internet or social media or anything like that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure it would have been quite AO3 quality.
There's all kinds of stuff though. Like, again, like as an archive. Yeah. And it sounds like for that being, the starting point for you, it's interesting that it was a matter of, because for me it was writing first, but for you it sounds like there was already that little bit of like talking it out. Like, did you do like, would you like, and I don't mean to like make you cringe or stuff thinking about it, but like, would you sort of like I'm
too old to cringe about my younger self.
Would you try to embody like the characters as you were like, or would it basically be like just this happens next and this happens next? Or did you try to like, put
at that point it was more this happens next and then this and then this and he said this and I said that and then she said this. But we were goofy for sure.
The fanfic parts, you said like it was kind of like J2 for Supernatural first. Now, does that mean, had you even watched any of the show at that point?
I hadn't. I had not.
See, this is what always like amazes me. So what was it about? Did you know anything about what these men looked like? Or or was it just?
Did you get pulled in from like Days of Our Lives, Gilmore Girls, Dawson's Creek?
Yeah.
So did you be another TV show that Jared did before Supernatural quickly?
Well, let me see. Without looking at a single picture, I knew they were both tall. And Jared was taller and Jensen had green eyes. But obviously that was already internet days, so I could Google them.
Right.
See pictures.
Right. So had you read a fic first and then Googled, or did you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I have a feeling that maybe there were Stargate characters crossing over in an RPF. I mean, actors, not characters. I know that the first big fandom thing I got involved with was a Kept Boy by Poison Taster. I don't know if you ever saw that particular RPF universe. And then from that, it's like, I'm interested in seeing these people move and talk. And the best way to do that is to watch Supernatural. And then my son and I, he was little then, got sucked into Supernatural, particularly season 1, when they were looking for their dad and they didn't know where their dad was. And then it's like, they're really good actors and this is good storytelling. And I was really fascinated because it turned out that they were from where I'm from. I only live about 20 miles from Lawrence, Kansas.
Oh, wow.
So I knew exactly what they were talking about.
Oh, that's so neat. That's so neat.
It's like,
oh, goodness.
That's my area code. It was the episode when Dean's got a call on John's cell phone, I think. It's like, wait a minute, that's my area code. They're from here. What the hell?
The call's coming from inside the state, people.
Yes,
this is happening.
yes.
That's so fucking cool,
Yes.
though.
Oh my goodness.
The opening for hell is just like 30 miles from here. How did that happen?
That's really interesting because I know like Kasey and I, when we're writing,
Sandra gets so excited when someone mentions her state.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm
so excited when like Delaware gets mentioned. I'm like, yes, like, the first state. Yes, come on, let's go. Because it's just like, it's so bizarre to hear it even like show up and stuff. And when it does, I'm like here for it. But I know for
not something that I get.
For Kasey and I, like when we're writing, like, and I know we've written stuff that's based in like, Lebanon or whatever. And it's like, we're Googling stuff, but all you got to do is like hop into your, you just drive by and get like an idea of like, what the, what the feel is like and stuff. Is Lebanon as tiny as we imagine? Have you been like through Lebanon, Kansas at all? Like, have you, can you just like drive through it in like a minute? I think
it's a wide spot in the road, honestly.
I was going to say, I've Googled and Google mapped that location extensively. Yeah, it's tiny, isn't it?
It's just like a little like strip and like boop. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
Aw.
Is that a Supernatural line? I remember when Rome was a wide spot in the road.
I wouldn't be surprised if they used it.
Yeah. I feel like Cass said that or something.
Yeah. That's an old timey Kansas thing. I think wide spot in the road.
I love it.
Did you finish the show in its entirety?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I'm kind of a crazy completionist kind of person. It's pretty rare that I don't watch all of something, even if I've kind of moved on to something else. So yeah, I watched clear through to the end.
Okay.
I've got to say the finale was kind of disappointing to me.
I was about to ask, as someone who had kind of like sort of moved on fandom wise, maybe how did that finale hit you? Was you like, oh, that's sad, or were you gross like me and Sandra were?
It's like I just couldn't picture Dean being defeated by a nail on the wall. I think that was the thing. It's like a piece of rebar hanging out of a barn. Really? That's how? So that kind of hit me wrong. But despite of, my kind of questions about that, I thought the finale ended very nicely. I liked, the idea of them meeting again in heaven. It's like, oh, here we are back again. And I think I started to kind of lose I don't know if it was because I was starting to move into Marvel stuff by then, or because I wasn't that interested in the Leviathans in season 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I kind of started to drop off then. But I did finish it. I absolutely did watch every episode. I really liked the one with the kids doing the musical.
Oh,
I don't remember
Fanfiction.
the name of it. Such a cute episode. I love Dean's expression when he saw the Castiel and the Dean actors mooning. It's like, that's cute. That's cute.
Kasey gets secondhand cringe from that.
I do get secondhand cringe from that episode.
I love the more meta episods. I mean,
what
whatever it is.
What about Scooby Natural?
I think I saw that, but the thing is, I don't like Scooby-Doo that much.
Okay.
So I thought it was really cool idea, and I could see, Dean loving to unhinge his mouth and eat a sandwich.
How big my mouth is. Yeah.
Because
that's very recently come up. Somebody's still finishing the show, and that was the last episode they watched, so that's kind of like floating around in our communities at the moment. I haven't seen no Scooby Natural personally. I'm a little bit too young for Scooby-Doo as a TV show, and I'm just like, this is just weird and cringy, and I'm uncomfortable.
And I loved Scooby-Doo when I was younger. So for me, it's like, it's funny when Kasey and I get started on certain things. It's like, nope, loved it, hated it. Okay, yep, all different ideas and different viewpoints for different episodes and stuff.
Well, the thing about the supernatural fandom that I always appreciated was it is not as toxic as a lot of fandoms are. There isn't a lot of, I hate you because you ship this other person instead.
I guess from your experience from different fandoms, is it, there's a lot of, there's the same kind of I don't like you because you like this situation.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I went, when Captain America Civil War came out,
and
really probably a little bit more before that, that it just got super toxic between the Steve Bucky shippers and the Steve Tony shippers.
Oh.
I mean, the Tony bashing by the Bucky fans was really unpleasant. I think the thing about Tony was, to me, his terrible insecurities. And part of that is being kind of multi-fandom within Marvel and reading comic stuff. It's like you really get more of a totality of a picture of what that ship was from the early days of the Adventure comics, the early days of Captain America and Iron Man. And I think a lot of that carried over. I think a lot of people that were really anticipating the Avengers movie in 2013 were people who were Stony shippers in the comics.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the fanfic that came out 2013, 2012, 2014 was heavily Stony for that reason.
Yeah.
And because Bucky hadn't been really introduced other than briefly in the first Avenger, he wasn't brought back to life in the modern world until Winter Soldier, which, oh, my heart, that movie. I love that movie.
Displays a little bit. Yeah.
We've been in Supernatural for too long.
No, thinking about it though, we are kind of spoiled because our media only has one thing. I know there's the anime and I know there's the comics, but that's not really that big. We just have the TV show. If you're looking at a fandom like Marvel, there's all the comics, and then there's all the different comics, and then there's Crisis on Infinite Earths, and there's a zombie MCU, and then there's the movies, and then there's the Disney TV. There's too many things to pick from. That's how. No.
It's so interesting to me because they're all so distinct to me. It's like here's these characters and they're generally the same. I mean, I think the thing about Steve and Tony is just the contrast between what Steve represents, which is the old fashioned, the ethics, all that, but it's kind of interesting how their insecurities kind of can play off each other.
Your fandom time in Supernatural, you said it was heavy. What years was it? Heavy in?
I would say, and I'm kind of forgetting what the years would have been, but I'm thinking 2009 to probably 2013, 14.
Okay.
So a while.
Yeah, the mid seasons then. Yeah.
Yes. Although, I ravenously consumed the seasons that I had missed, which would have been seasons 1 and 2 and part of 3. I started watching. I'm not sure when I started watching because I went back and started with episode 1, season 1. So I'm not even sure what was airing because I don't have cable TV. So I pretty much rely on streaming anyway. So I had a period of my life when I was poor. So
that remains a good financial decision. Yeah. That is a good financial choice.
Kasey, I don't know if you want to I mean, you can ask your question now because I honestly don't know. I have no clue. And I think this might be one where we don't know.
We don't know. So, like, if you can, you don't have to. Do you feel like you identify more with one of the brothers? Like, would you consider one of them your Blorbo? Or are you, like, equal brothers? Or is your Blorbo a totally different character? Or are you just not that invested in it anymore? And if that's the case, when you were invested, did you have a Blorbo?
Well, I mean, it's like when somebody's not in your life anymore and you look back and say, oh, you know, I remember, you know, I had such a soft spot in my heart for Dean. I mean, just, I think as, you know, I was talking about with the insecurity that he has and the kind of bravado that he displays and, you know, kind of his silliness about Sam being a nerd and when you know he doesn't really think that.
Right.
You know, it's just, he's fronting like a madman, I think, a lot. But yeah, if I had to define a Blorbo from that show, it probably would be Dean.
Okay. That's, as a sound person, you wouldn't think that would make me happy, but it really fucking does. You tip the scales back in Dean, which gives me another week to complain.
We don't have to hate each other, Kasey.
No, we don't. No, we don't. I'm British. Complaining completes me. If I don't have something to complain about, I'm not happy.
When you did get into the show, was he like right away? Like, did he kind of like, did he like get you like right away, or did it take a little while for Dean to like be that? Oh,
I think he got me right away. And part of it is just because Jensen is so unearthly gorgeous. It's like, did an angel sculpt this man? It's like, what the hell?
I was just about to say, are you watching his new show Countdown?
I have not caught it yet.
Okay.
I have not caught it yet.
It just gets better, Cookie. You don't expect it to, and it just keeps getting better from that man. So
you might, if his career post Supernatural wasn't like, I would say he'd made a demon deal, but Supernatural's been going on for like 20 years now. So unless he made the world's most based in his favorite demon deal, something's not right there. He's more beautiful now than he's ever been. You got to watch Countdown. There's a shower scene where he's, I mean, you don't see anything, but he's like chest nude.
No, it's beautiful. Yeah.
The latest episode that aired this week, he was doing pull-ups in a tank top for like 3 minutes.
That reminds me of season 6, Sam doing pull-ups.
Yep. Sam has the edge a teeny tiny little bit because he was shirtless and like,
oh goodness,
and flexing,
But no, do you see? Jensen's got that sort of like deeper kind of like grunt. So he's doing the pull-ups and he's doing the grunt, and like we rewound it.
We rewound that a few times. We were doing a group watch, and that you were like, we're gonna go back again.
Let's get that again.
The scene finished, and I was just like, because we're watching it with an app that syncs everybody up. So the scene finished, and I started rewinding it, and they were both immediately like, "Oh, we watching that again? You're goddamn fucking right, we're watching it again." Seriously, just 45 minutes out of your week. The story, it's a very, I mean, like, it's just not groundbreaking in terms of story, but he's so fucking pretty. It's halfway through its airing, and I am low-key invested in the plot because there's an absolutely enormously glaring plot hole that I have to assume is going to be addressed at some point. But I spend the whole episode every week that we watch going, am I going to find out now? Is now going to be the time? Not yet.
Okay, now I've got to go watch it just to look for the hole.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you don't need to. No, you don't need to look for it. What you need to do is press your back against the wall and skirt around it very fucking carefully. Don't worry, you don't need to watch it. It'll suck you in and you'll be going, but why?
Oh,
it's huge. It's huge. But yeah, no, if for no other reason, he does pull-ups. There's a shower scene. He does stunts and stuff.
Again, I think he's having a lot of fun too with it. And it's, it's not that sci-fi fantasy supernaturally, it's quote unquote a little bit more grounded, in reality,
right.
even though,
It's like,
so.
Yeah.
Kind of like Walker.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
Oh.
not, well,
in terms of it not being.
Oh, yeah, just like reality. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, there's nothing fantastical or supernatural. It's like it's a police show. It's a cop show.
Yeah, it's like a crime show. Yeah, it's a crime thriller, like that kind of thing. So I think, he's definitely trying different things. Have you ever watched The Boys? Is that a show that you had any interest in watching?
I did watch The Boys. I need to catch up with it.
Okay.
I watched the first 2 seasons, and even though Jensen was coming on, I kind of didn't watch season 3 yet. But I love The Boys a lot, except that Garth Ennis, who wrote the comic, he really kind of loves to gross people out. So there's a lot of gross out that I kind of have to cringe through in The Boys, but it's a really good show. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think the characters are really interesting. But yeah, as you go through season by season, it feels like they have to up the grossing out and oh my God, what did they do factor. So definitely, if you start season 3, episode 1, be prepared to just be like, oh my God. Yeah, it's just
sit down and
I think that's
have
why
a cushion.
That's what it's like. It's like I know it's coming. It's like
Yeah.
Watch it through fingers. That's what I do sometimes. I'm just like just through my fingers, and then it helps.
I have to say that the season 1, episode 1 of The Boys is the strongest no bullshit test I've ever seen in TV. If you can get through that one,
that very first scene,
there's not much that's gonna leave you horrified in The Boys.
I did want to ask a question about like the comic / fandom part of it. So, I mean, because it sounds like you are involved in like a lot of fandoms that, like Kasey was saying, have a lot of the, like they go beyond just, the TV is like the grounding point. Like a lot of them, maybe it's, they started in comics, then moved to movies, and then maybe like got a larger fan base that way. So were there like comic fandoms? Like, were you invested in Marvel? It sounds like you were invested in Marvel way before the movies and stuff. Were there other like comics that kind of grabbed you within fandom?
Actually, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
I read comics, Superman particularly, Supergirl, Superboy when I was a kid.
Okay.
But I really didn't get back into comics until 2013.
Okay. And was that because of Marvel?
Avengers.
Okay.
And yeah, it was.
Gotcha.
And really got into it. It's like, ask my credit card statement how much I get into comics. I had a daughter that worked at a comic store for a while.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm going to back my truck up to pick up our pull list for Wednesday. And she was DC and I was Marvel. So it's like the huge.
Okay.
Oh, that's an interesting Thanksgiving conversation. You sit at either end of the table like,
I'm guessing the DC versus Marvel that could be very contentious as well. Again, like being someone that's not really involved in a lot of other fandoms, like was that like always an interesting conversation to have around?
Well, it was never contentious. It was more like her pulling me in. She insisted when she was about 14 that I had to watch the entire animated series. So Batman the animated series and the Justice League. It's like, okay, that's done it. And then we watched the Arrowverse for a while until they got super into Felicity Oliver. And then it's like, oh, this is boring.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting. I think I'm kind of atypical in that way. And then although it makes a certain amount of sense, because jumping into a comics fandom there's a heavier lift. I mean, rather than watching a show, because there's so much history. There's so much history. It's like, what are you talking about? Where did these people come from? Why are they mentioning this?
Yeah.
And, it's like, okay, I think I need to do some homework before I can really get into it.
Yeah.
Which I think is why the movies that are based on comic characters are a little more straightforward, because they're trying to pull in people who aren't the comic geeks.
Right. Yeah.
It's very, very streamlined.
Just give you a brief outline here, like, like figure out this character rather than doing the whole like big universe and then all the different alternative universes and like all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I've got to say my favorite anecdote for like that kind of trying to dive into the absolute ocean of comics is when John Bernthal got cast as Punisher. and went to his local comic book shop and started like picking up Punisher comics, like to research the character, getting to the till, and the guy being like, I know who you are. And he was like, okay. And the guy being like, you don't need that, and you don't need that, and you don't need that, and you need to read this, and you need to read this, and don't fuck this up. So, and I haven't watched the show, but I was led to, I semi-reliably performed. It wasn't great.
I really kind of liked that. What was it when it was first on Netflix? Like when they started with like Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage. I think the Iron Fist was the one that kind of
the Iron Fist, and then
the Marvel series,
the
and then they pulled together the Defenders. Like like that was my like, okay, I can kind of like get into it at this level because it's not like huge, and this is before I got sucked into Supernatural and all that other stuff. But I really did appreciate
when you had time.
When I had time, I really did appreciate those. I think Daredevil was kind of like my favorite one out of those four when I started like getting into it. So yeah, I can just imagine, because TV now, movies, comics, like Marvel in general, how they just, you really do have to know, if you're not following this other, offshoot here, you might miss out some information that you need moving forward. And it's not just, you can't really just watch them standalone, without, I mean, you can, if you have that ability to just like, well, I'm just going to sit and just let whatever happen and not ask any questions. But if not, it can be very disorienting to somebody just like coming in midway kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's his, like, this is one of my problems. When the MCU first started, you could watch the movies, and you had to stay to the middle of the credits or the end of the credits, and then it'd be like coming soon in the Avengers, right? But then it was like kind of like after Avengers Endgame, and then Disney went, oh shit, there's money to be made here. And started making all these TV shows. I had the time to watch fucking Wanda and Vision and Loki and stuff, but now the movies that are coming out, if you haven't watched those,
they're
TV
relying
shows,
on that. Yeah,
they don't make fucking sense. Like I watched the Multiverse of Madness, the Doctor Strange thing, and I was like, I'm so confused.
Who are these people?
And like my kid watches the Marvel spin-off stuff, and my husband watches it, and they were like, oh yeah, you need to have seen like this episode of WandaVision. And I was like, I'm not watching, I just want to watch a movie. What the fuck? I'm not.
I got to plug WandaVision though. I think of all the spin-off series, that was the best one.
I did like that one.
Too.
I watched that one. I heard good things. Yeah,
I wasn't expecting to like that one as much. I think that one really made me appreciate her as a character more. And again,
I wanted to like Loki, but oh my God, it didn't hit me right.
Second season was very confusing. I was just very confused with the second season. I did like the concept of like the first part of it, and I like him, I think, as a character, but it was a little, I just and I got rid of Disney Plus. I was like, I got to streamline my money funds. I'm like, we're not doing Disney for a little while, so nope, that's okay. Won't do that. I don't know what's going on with anything anymore, and it's fine. It's fine. Supernatural, like I said, we're diving into that. So I was like, I'm good. But I guess we should get into like the meat and potatoes of your contributions to all of these different fandoms, and that would be your podficking. And what got you into it? Like, what made you decide to do it?
I started like most people do as a listener, 2007 or so, picking up Podfics by Gingerly, for example. There are a lot of really great podfickers in the really earliest days. But it always appealed to me from the standpoint of it's a very creative process. And for somebody like me, who's an ex-theater kid. It was very appealing in the sense of I can do this dramatic piece, for lack of a better term, in my room here with my microphone, in my grubby clothes, without putting on makeup, without going on stage. And, I don't have to go to rehearsal 5 nights a week while I'm trying to work. And plus I've recently gotten more into the editing and how to make it better quality from a product standpoint. But the first thing I ever did was a multi-voice project that somebody was doing in the Stargate fandom. And, it's just, a few little lines a short scene that contributes to the whole. That's something I recommend to people who want to get into podficking.
Okay.
Is there's a Podfic Discord, and there's a whole channel there for multi-voice projects, which means you can record 3 or 4 lines and just because I think the first thing you have to get over is just that microphone staring in your face. And, when you first start out, you don't like your voice. You think you sound weird. Just to get over that, it's like I can record this 3-minute piece and send it off, and it's not going to ruin anything. And once you get over that hump and you start doing more projects and start doing longer projects, it gets easier and easier. I went for a long period, I would say a 5 or 6 year period where I didn't do anything in the podfic realm because we were going through some stuff. Let's just put it that way. It was a very tough time for my family. I had done a few fandom auctions, which probably wasn't a good thing for me because it's kind of like getting an assignment. You have to do this piece for me. It's like, okay, well, I'm not in that fandom. It's like, okay, I'll give it a shot. But one of them I did was actually a series. And for, I would say, years after I did that, it's like, are you going to do the rest of the series? Are you going to do the rest of the series? And finally, somebody asked me in a way that kind of said, okay, I can do the rest of the series. And I started recording. It was the Atlas series in Star Trek. And even though that wasn't at that time, my fandom passion, it at least got me back in front of the microphone.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it's like, okay, now there's this other one I did in Stargate Atlantis, and it was a series. I'll finish that series. And by then I was into the old guard. So I started recording old guard stuff.
Okay.
And it's like, I want to record a bunch of old guard podfics.
You got a lot.
I do. And then I've lost track of the question now, I think, how I got into it.
Oh, yeah, how you got into it. The one thing that sparked my interest when you said it was that you were a theater kid, which makes your love of the episode fan fiction all the more understandable. So for you, was it, because you talked about being able, because for me, I think I always loved the idea of acting, right? But I just never thought I could do it. So I think getting the option, like you said, to be dramatic and find a way to act, was that also kind of a really big draw for you? Like you said, you don't have to get dressed up. You don't have to worry about, I don't have to fit this quote unquote look that they're going for, or casting isn't involved. I get to cast myself and just figure out how I'm going to fit into this role kind of a situation.
Yes. And if I thought that sounded dorky, I can just record it over again.
Yeah.
It's just, yes, I think that's probably the biggest draw. Plus just something that's become more and more important to me is accessibility. I can't tell you how many people I've heard from that have dyslexia or vision problems, or they just don't have the concentration to sit and read 100,000 word fic. Being able to listen to it is their gateway back into fandom. Yeah. And that means so much to me. It just means so much to me. There's one of my favorite authors in the old guard fandom and the Kenzarelli fandom, which is basically crossovers of Marwan Kenzari's and Luca Marinelli's characters, has a husband who's dyslexic. So the only way he has been able to enjoy her fic is by listening to my podfics. And it just is so touching to me.
Yeah.
So that's a huge draw for me too. But I love the creative process. I love, turning off the world out there and, pulling up my story and reading it and, feeling with what I think they're feeling and presenting that to the people who are listening. Yeah.
I've found it interesting too, because people that I've podfic their work for, because you were talking about the accessibility factor. And I mean, I can't remember. I think we were talking about it before we started recording, but we have somebody in our Discord who's a fan of the podcast, Dragon Art Hill, and Jin mentioned that, you know, when she was dealing with vision problems, like she turned to Podfics to be able to listen to stuff that really kind of like, you know, made her feel better, and it gave her that access that she, I think, was worried she might not be able to have during that time. And that kind of struck with me too. And I've the other thing I've heard from authors, and I don't know if you've gotten this too, but authors like hearing it from someone else's voice, they get a whole different perspective of their own work, which I kind of find like the inspirational part of it is just very interesting. I've had a couple people be like, you know, I've picked up, or, you know, I was able to kind of step back and really like appreciate it more. Maybe not like, you know, not get hard on myself about whether or not the fic was good, but just hear it in another way or experience it in a different way and enjoy it more. And I don't know if you've kind of gotten those kinds of reactions too. I have heard that.
And those kinds of comments are so touching to me. You know, somebody was saying, I didn't really want to start out a new fic, so I thought I would listen. You know, I'm not a big podfic person, so I decided to put on this podfic of my story, and I'm cleaning my stove crying over my own story. It's like, that's really something to hear. And of course, once you start getting comments, really any kind of comment, it's just encourage you to do it more, whatever it is, whether it's fanfic or podfic or fan art. If you get feedback from people, and you know, this is my plug for commenting and kudos, just keep those comments coming. I mean, if you want the fic to keep coming, you gotta feed the artist.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said you started like multi-voice. So do you remember what your first one was that you did kind of like on your own? Like just tried it? Like,
yes.
Was it, okay. Can you tell us about it?
And it was absolutely filthy, I just gotta say.
Whoop! We love that here.
It was called dog tag porn. It was in the Stargate Atlantis fandom.
Okay.
And it's like, I managed to finish it. It was like, I'm not sure I can do explicit. I get over that. I'll just tell you, I got over that. But
it is interesting, right? Like when you're like, I don't know, but like, I guess if you read it, you could probably sell it, you know, but yeah.
I
don't know if this is something that you do, Cookie, but with our sort of like podcast community and stuff, we have a monthly smut closet with Sandra where she reads, you can submit like your fic. I think everyone's submitted their own fics because obviously there's permission issues with somebody else's fic. And like Sandra does it broadcast it live on a stage in Discord and stuff like that. And we were all like, just everybody's having a good time. And then someone decided to submit the filthiest thing they'd ever written. And Sandra was on camera. I have no idea what she looked like because I couldn't look at the fucking screen. But Sandra was on camera reading this absolute filth. And the chat was just, the tension in the chat was unreal. And we were all like, I don't know what we expected, but what fucking this? Jesus Christ.
It was early on. It was before I took my multi-year hiatus. I was recording something that was explicit, and it was in my basement. I looked over, and my 4-year-old, 6-year-old, I'm not sure how old he was kind of peeking around the furnace. It's like, so I go up to his older cousin who was supposed to be watching him. Keep him out of the basement.
Oh my goodness. You have like a smut dungeon. You have a smut dungeon.
I do have a smut dungeon.
I love that. Sandra has a closet.
I have a smut closet.
That 6-year-old is now 26, and he will come in when I'm recording, even if it's just the most mild thing in the world, and say, "Are they fucking?" I'm not sure I could say the F word on your podcast.
Oh yes, you can.
Oh yeah, you absolutely can.
You have not listened to us. Yes, you can let it all fly. It's perfectly fine.
That's his joke. It's like, I could be reading about somebody walking their dog. Are they fucking? No,
that's a good joke.
Dog. Get
that's
out of
a good
here.
joke. does your husband deal with that?
He is so encouraging.
Good.
Yes.
That's good to hear.
He doesn't really listen to it because he's not into fandom.
But as long as he's encouraging about it, yes.
The funny story I have to tell about him was I was listening to one of my old guard podfics while I was cooking. And for some reason, I didn't have my headphones in. I was just letting it go out into the wild. And he said, "You read a lot better than her." And I said, "That's me."
Wow.
Oh,
I don't know how you missed it.
Tell me how you really feel.
Oh, so encouraging, but having absolutely no clue. So maybe a little bit of a clue would be a little bit helpful, just a little. That's funny. That is funny. No, but the thing about your son is also very hilarious too, because I'm kind of like, I think that's one of the questions I did want to ask too, is like how did you start out? Like what equipment were you using? Were you just like doing it on your phone, or like, were you like, how did it start for you recording?
I had a laptop and probably the cheapest, what they used to call teleconferencing microphone you can imagine.
Okay.
Just cheapo piece of crap, really. And I remember that first multi-voice, I was sitting cross-legged on my bed in my bedroom, recording. And that's how I did, I think, dog tag porn too. I moved to the basement, still had the same setup, laptop, cheapo. I cannot express how cheap this microphone was. And used that until I think 2 years ago when it finally gave up the ghost. And I bought a Blue Yeti microphone. But, that's what
I've heard.
A
lot of people go with a Blue Yeti.
They were they were the microphone if you were a YouTube gamer or streamer in the sort of mid to late 2000s. That was.
They seem to be. I've heard good things about them though. They seem to be a pretty good like workhorse mic and stuff.
It really has been. I've had no problems with it. I would buy another one in a heartbeat if something happened to it. So,
and so you're in your basement. Are you still are you using a laptop? Did you up it, or what kind of like digital?
I've actually moved up to basically a spare bedroom.
Oh, okay.
Because my daughter has since moved out.
Gotcha.
And the problem with doing the basement is the air conditioner, the heater were right there. So when the blower came on, it's like, okay, I guess I need to edit. And if I don't have editing to do, I guess I have to do chores now. So I now have it set up where I don't have to stop and do chores. So that's good. But yeah, it's just a spare bedroom.
Is it a good space like for sound too as well? Like you just don't have to like.
I have no complaints. I've had no complaints. I know there are people who build like structures with moving blankets and little foam. I don't do any of that.
Oh, nice.
And I've not had any complaints. I think there's a nice live quality to the space that I record in. Live in terms of acoustics,
right?
Not in terms of speaking live, but in terms of acoustics, there's a nice sound quality. I think the basement was perfection, except for the spiders and the heater.
That's another reason why I probably wouldn't go to the basement and record. There's a lot of reasons, but
there's a lot of spiders.
I've been like, you got to get your husband to like build you a smut dungeon in the basement, and she's like, I don't want to move to the basement.
Yeah,
I like my closet.
I like my closet because I think it's just the way I have it set up is it's like it's an office / spare bedroom because we have like a pull out sofa and stuff. But like when Kasey and I are podcasting, like I'm at my desktop, but then when I need to record, I'm in my closet where I have I have a laptop that's hooked up outside of it because, of course, the fan is just very noisy in there. But I've got the blankets and the foam and stuff. And I've finally gotten it to a way where I'm like, I really like how it sounds like, the noise floor and everything, like all that stuff just sounds good to me. So it's like I don't want to move it. I'm like, nothing better change with this setup because I will not be a happy camper if I have to try to figure it out again. And it's taken me, a couple of years to kind of just get it the way that I'm comfortable with it. But so what about audio software? Like, what do you use? I
have used Audacity from the beginning.
That's what I've got. I the Adobe, what is it? Adobe Audition. I think I tried that for a week and I'm like, this is too confusing. I want to go back to Audacity. And I'm like, I'm just good with this. I like how this is set up. So yeah.
I really like it. The most recent version had something I thought was a glitch, but I happened to read on the Audacity Discord, somebody who was having a similar problem. It wouldn't let me edit right to the spot that I wanted. It would skip to the nearest eighth of a second. Mm-hmm. But I found out there was a setting that apparently was new with that version that I had turned on. So I turned it off and I'm fine now.
I got so upset with whatever version it was that I was like, no, I'm just rolling back. So I think I'm at a certain version where I'm like, I'm fine. I don't want to update anything. Just let
this is fine.
This is fine. So that's interesting.
If only they asked consumers what you wanted. They didn't just go, everybody wants this.
What a concept.
What a concept.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like, keep your freaking AI out of everything.
Yep.
What actually sparks your interest though, in a particular fic? Do you get rect fics, or do you just come across a fic to pick the podfic? How does that process happen for you?
Lately, it's interesting. I've been getting recs. I used to never get recs, and now I get recs all the time. Mm-hmm. But normally, I will read a story, and it's like, I have to do this one. Mm-hmm. Particularly if it's one that I read over and over and over and over and over again. One was The Exiles. Another was Grief is a Four-Dimensional Figure. Another was, what was the name of it? I'm losing my mind.
That's okay.
You've done a lot.
I've done a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
But usually it's that. It's like, I've got this hardcore, visceral, if I don't commit this to recording, I'm going to hate myself kind of feeling. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I started doing I don't remember if it was late 2001 or if it was in 2022, where it's like, people don't comment on podfics much, probably much less than fics, because a podfic, you're going to download it and listen to it later. And the percentage of people who come back and comment on a podfic is pretty low.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, these special people I'm going to reward. So I started looking through their bookmarks.
Okay.
To find what, is there something there and I'm usually looking for something with blanket permission, just because I'm in too big of a hurry to message somebody and ask, do you mind if I do this fic? It's it's and then wait a week. It's like, no, I need to do it now. And I've found so many cool fics that way. It's like, I never heard of this fic, but there's, somebody's bookmarked it and I read it. It's like, wow, this was a good one. But that's mainly how I do it now. And if somebody hasn't bookmarked anything, or I've done what they've bookmarked, or they don't have anything bookmarked in the fandom I'm looking for, then I'll go back and just kind of search through AO3. I have a browser extension that highlights people who have done blanket permission.
Okay.
Could you link a podcast, please?
Yeah. I will. It was something that was out on GitHub. Okay. So it's just something that you download and add to your browser extension. It's really been very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the things too, is just the blanket permission part of it. Because as I started to get involved in some of the different podfic communities and different challenges and stuff, figuring out the whole blanket permission thing it can be quite a thing to have to you've got to complete a challenge, and it's I don't even know where to start, and I guess I got to go start looking for a certain fandom, and then do I have to start to check everybody's profile and see who gives blanket permission and stuff? Would you say, is there because I found sort of I think it was just a fill out this form situation. I think it was a podficker that put it together, but helping people create a blanket permission that then they could just put into their profile and stuff.
I have one pinned in my Tumblr. It's my pinned post. I didn't write it, but it does have a lot of guidance. It's a blanket permission builder. So there's a link to it. But yeah, anybody who's creating fanfic, I want to put my plugins, please put the blanket permission out there so that people can just go ahead and do your stuff. The other thing I've started to do is if I read a fic that I really like and I click on the profile, which I do pretty obsessively, and I find out somebody doesn't have blanket permission, I will ask them, I love your stuff. Do you mind if I do some of your fics rather than saying, do you mind if I do this particular fic? And that now works sort of as a blanket permission for me.
Yeah.
Because they've said I can do it. So
we will link that form in the description of this episode for sure. Because I think I need to put that on my AO3 profile.
Because I've done that too. Like I've made sure to make that are there any suggestions that you have about like blanket permissions, like as an author, like if they're considering it, like are there certain things they should think about maybe not including? Like, do they really need to kind of, pick and choose? Like what does blanket mean to you?
I've seen so many variations, but one of the things I want to encourage is if there's something you don't want anybody touching, say it. Say that, this means a lot to me and I really don't want anybody to do anything with it. That's fine to put in there too. But really blanket permission can be for translation, podfic, fan art, people writing, their own remix of the fanfic. There's a part of me that's been in fandom long enough that I kind of feel like everything should be just, free game. But I understand that people feel certain ways about their work. So if there's something you don't want somebody to podfic or you don't want somebody to remix or whatever, just put that there. Just say it in your blanket permission. You could do everything except XYZ. And the other comment I want to make is there are people who will do a blanket permission and then say, just ask me first. Which is not a blanket permission. Or just let me know you're doing it. It's like that's not actually a blanket permission either.
Because you could say like, I appreciate it if you'd like to link it back or just like let me know, but not like you have to do such and such. But like I'd love to know that you've done it or like that's I think something that I put on. Like I would just love to know or get linked to whatever it is that you've done or created or whatever.
But I don't ever put anything out there that I don't use the inspired by link in AO3.
Yeah. So. Do you find that the tags? Oh, I'm sorry, Kasey. Just one more tag question because this is the elusive AO3 tagging system that doesn't exist that we just talk about. But I think they have I've tried to use like blanket permission or like different types of tags. Are there any tags to look out for?
There's one called Podfic welcome.
Okay.
That a lot of people swear by.
Okay.
You making notes?
I usually have enough on my list. I mean, I have, if I probably planned it out, I would probably be recording to the end of 2027, without adding a single thing to my list. But
gosh.
There are a lot of people that when they want to record something, they're not sure what they'll put Podfic welcome as one of their search tags.
That's good. That's good to know. That's good to know. Sorry, Kasey. I got excited.
No, I love this. This is like listening to you guys workshop. It's great. I'm still thinking from an author perspective. Like Sandra's podfics a few of my works, both as like, just testers and when you were sort of first starting narration and stuff for the podcast. I'm always afraid that if somebody like to put a blanket permission on that, and I know that there's people out there like you guys that will, you'll always link back through AO3 and I'll always know. But I'm just like, Supernatural fandom's been going for such a long time, and you find art and it's been shared around so many times that nobody even knows where it comes from anymore. And the artist mark's been cropped out of it, and I'm always like, not that I'm being big-headed. I don't think any of my work is worth that. But I'm like, what if someone takes it and does something with it, and then their thing goes crazy, and then everyone's sharing around their thing, but it's my thing.
Well, then that's not really. I mean, that's just somebody that's just somebody plagiarizing.
That's plagiarism.
Yeah. So and I don't know how you get around.
And you can report it to AO3 if it's on AO3. But I mean, if it's taken on a life of its own on Wattpad or whatever, I don't know what you do.
Yeah, and I will be the first to admit, I am a spoiled little bastard of an only child. I am a spoiled little baby. These are my toys. Go away.
Consider the amount of energy you put into your work. You know, people, it's not easy. And speaking as somebody who has written and doesn't write much, it's like pulling the blood out of your veins to write something sometimes.
Yep.
And you put so much of your own heart, your own feelings, and your own experiences into it. You know, how dare you? Somebody else just took your name off and put someone else's on.
Yeah.
I mean, how dare they? That's gross.
Yeah.
That's because like I love the idea, like you were saying earlier, you'll read something and you'll be like, oh no, I must commit this to audio. I must make this happen immediately. And I that gives me the warm and fuzzies to think of somebody reading something of mine and feeling like that. And then being like stuck in a situation that you were talking about where I don't have a blanket permission on my AO3. So then they're like, oh God, now I got to like reach out to this person. And I would never say no, but I just can't shake that. Like, no, what if it goes crazy and my name gets lost? Because I'm a spoiled baby.
I think that's a situation too, where then somebody's already planning on doing something nefarious with it. And I think if you've got somebody that wants to podfic it or wants to do something with it and really appreciates what you did, they're going to make sure that they find a way to let everybody know who this, you know, where this came from. Like, you know, I mean, I know Cookie does this, you know, like when you start it off, you read the title and you read who it's by, like, you know, you read who wrote it. So, I mean, let's say a weird scenario where they weren't able to get a hold of you. It's like decades later, and it's somebody who really just loves podficking. I would imagine they would do the thing where they would have the name of the story, who wrote it, and then in that way, somebody can try to find that, you know, like that way. So I think it's dependent on what the motive is. Like, are they just doing it because they love it and they want to find another way to, you know, share it in a different form, or are they just trying to plagiarizing is a completely different thing, and that's something I think we've known. You can't get around that possibility in certain situations. I mean, time and time again, we're hearing AI, you know, all these different crazy things that people are doing with it. Yeah.
I will say, if anyone out there has designs on stealing any of my work, just please be a real person. I would far rather it was stolen by a real person than fucking scraped
not by some
AI machine.
Tech bro scraping your fics. It's just God, so gross. So gross.
Yeah. No, and I'm fully aware that it's a very irrational fear, but then like I don't think it is irrational. I don't think it's irrational. One of my besties is like militant about citing sources, and I love her for it. It makes it challenging to work with her sometimes. When she's like, we need a medical study, and I'm like, we're doing it on vibes, babe. We don't. But she's super, and especially when it comes to art and stuff like that. And I've seen her frustration about wanting to share stuff and being unable to find the original creator, and not like feeling like it's bad faith to carry on sharing around without credit and stuff like that. And I'm always like, but what if it's me? You know? So yeah, I get it. I do. And it's very unlikely to happen, but I'm just like, but what if it does?
No, I mean, I think it's definitely a possibility for everybody, you know. I mean, I think it's just the way that it could happen, you know. And I mean, I don't know. It's unfortunately, I just know that there are people that if they want to do it, they're gonna I found so many nice fics that I would want to do for a challenge, but I can't get a hold of the person, so I can't podfic it, you know. And that's a little. I think that's what I've learned most about, because the fandom has been around for so long. I wish people knew back then, you know, about giving a blanket permission if they're no longer in the fandom and it's still it's on archive, it's on AO3, and it's like, I'd love to do this thing with it, but I can't, in good faith, because I haven't gotten that person's permission. So it's almost like setting up like your legacy account, or like, what happens to your stuff if you're no longer around for it? Like, what are you okay with having done with it, what not? And back then, I mean, I don't even think that was a thought for a lot of people, and now we're in a situation where people want to do things with work they can't, and it's it's a little like it puts you in a like, wow, I really wish I could, but I can't kind of a situation. Yeah.
It's like that's to completely change genres. That's an enormous thing in gaming, abandonware. Especially old Nintendo stuff. Nintendo is like, no, these are all of my titles and you may have exactly none of them. But they don't, the consoles aren't made anymore. There's no support for anything. Like they abandoned it. So then when people are like, well, we would buy it, but you left it. And then they're all pissed at the people using it. It's the same kind of thing. But then I guess, nobody sets out on any kind of journey or to make a name for themselves in any kind of space with the idea that it will end one day.
Yeah.
Life comes at you, doesn't it? And then before you know it, it's been 10 years since you've logged into that account. And no, I get it. I totally see it.
Yeah, one of my supernatural fics was by Space Raider 182, and it was based on, the title was Fast Car So I Could Drive Away, which is based on the Tracy Chapman song. And I was really proud of what I did with it, because I interspersed bits from the song into the fic. And I really liked how it turned out, but I found out that even before I left LiveJournal, that Space Raider had left Fandom. I mean, I couldn't find them. I had gotten permission. Let me just put that right out there. When I first read the book, when I first read the fic, I said, can I podfic this? It got a positive response. So I don't feel bad about posting it, but I'm just sad, that person is not findable. That fic is not findable. It's gone, which was kind of the whole impetus behind AO3 and allowing orphaned works. It's an archive, so things like that don't happen. So it's not lost.
So does that mean it got posted? So did you give it to Space Raider to post, and then when they left, did it just disappear that way?
No, their story was on LiveJournal.
Oh, okay.
And I podficked it.
Okay.
But when I went back, and it's been years, when I went to post it on AO3, because I wanted to link back, it wasn't on AO3. So I went to LiveJournal, and the journal had been purged. It's like, this is sad. This is sad.
Yeah.
I know I had permission, but this is sad.
Yeah.
Would you, I suppose question to both of you, because obviously Sandra does podficcing as well. Do you think it would be better from a fandom community standpoint if it was opt out? So if, like, let's say, for example, AO3 is not going to implement this, but if you were said when you were like making your account or whatever, that anything you post, you are posting with the, under the knowledge that somebody may choose to use your work as inspiration for something else, podfic, fan art, whatever. And if you didn't agree to that, you could opt out of that, and it would, like when people lock their fics and they're restricted and they got a little padlock, and there would just be like a something next to your name that just said, just a little symbol, and that symbol meant don't do anything with my stuff. Do you think that would be maybe a better way to do it than?
I never thought of that, honestly. I mean, it would make my life easier, but I don't know. That's interesting.
I mean, I can't get AO3 to let me set a default language, so they're definitely not going to introduce that.
I think it would be nice, but I do think that, like, it's just, it'd be nice to get the option to maybe set it, right? Like when you're first setting up your account. I don't know about the opt out.
I'll set it. Just to
I sure wish there was a setting for blanket permission. Absolutely.
Where then
that would probably be my number one request for,
you could pick
like enhancement.
I'm good with this, like those kinds of things.
When you tick it, like even when you're posting your work, and you can be like, anyone could comment, registered users. You pick that, like, this work is available to be, used as inspiration for something else.
Yeah.
Maybe we should email AO3.
Maybe we should.
They won't do it.
No.
But maybe we should email them.
No, we
then we can all go, we tried.
We could do it that way. Yeah. No, it just opens up so many questions as to when you really, I think when you expand what fandom is beyond just like fan art and fanfic, you know, and really getting into all the different ways people show their creativity, it's good to, you know, give people that option, you know, again, like you get to pick, like you can say what the permissions are, like what you're okay with people doing with it, but just kind of think about that. You know, the next time you write a fic, or like maybe you've got a fic that's doing really well, maybe it's getting a lot of hits or a lot of comments. Maybe consider going back and, you know, putting like Podfic welcome, or putting a couple tags, or putting something in the notes that says, you know, I'd love, you know, inspirations, remixes, whatever, and then see what happens that way. Because I think you'd be surprised at, you know, what you inspire other people to want to do.
I think that's one of the things that really surprises me a lot, you know, is how often I will ask for permission. It's like, my story?
Yes.
Like, you really want to do mine?
Yes. We have a friend that I absolutely adore everything BJ writes. And I went to BJ, a few weeks ago. And I was just like, can I just get permission to just podfic anything of your library? And they were, you know, mine. And I'm like, yes, sure. She's like, you know, you've already done like 3, but if you, I'm like, yeah, because I never know when I'm going to want to, you know, podfic something that you've written, because it's amazing. And to know that people don't feel that way about their work is just like, you know, gosh, you know, it's just like, but yeah, they don't even, some people just don't have a clue that, you know, other people would find their stuff so amazing that they'd want to do something with it. So yeah. So,
and I will say as an author, if you're listening to this and you're like, well, maybe I will go and put that blanket, or maybe I will start adding that tag or whatever. It is the surrealist fucking feeling when you listen to somebody act your words and you're like, fuck, I wrote that. And then the person like, and they put their heart and their soul into it. And Sandra's done like, obviously because some of our stuff goes up on YouTube, so you got to be careful about like music and sound and stuff, because Led Zeppelin does not like using your music in your videos, and they will claim it immediately within seconds. I don't know. I know it's an algorithm, but I just imagine a really tired intern just scrolling through all of fucking YouTube. But Sandra's done like some really fucking incredible stuff with like songs and audio and stuff like that.
Like you were talking about with fast cars, Cookie. Like, you know, but you can't share it. Like that stuff you really can't, like, you know, share. I mean, do you, like, for the fast cars one, did you get it's on AO3? Is that okay? So do you have to worry about that getting taken down? Because I'm assuming you're hosting
it won't get pulled from AO3,
but you're hosting it somewhere where nobody, but you're hosting it like on Google or like, are you just like putting it somewhere where
do you
host it? Yeah,
I used to host on SenseSpace.
Okay.
But I spent, you know, several days moving everything to archive.org.
Okay, and I have a few on that. That's the Internet Archive, right?
Archive. Yeah. And all of my stuff, or most of my stuff, is on the AudioFic archive.
Okay.
That gingerly set up 20 years ago. Yeah.
I did one on there. I put my Pine Sweat on there because that one does really well. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. But that's a process too, where I know you could do like a like you can fill out a spreadsheet and then they can import. And I'm just like, I don't have time.
Do you want to put that on your Kasey do list?
Maybe at some point. Maybe at some point.
We are hosting on Google Drive at the moment.
Most of the stuff,
and I have my stuff on Google Drive too.
Yeah. No, it's interesting.
But once it gets put on the AudioFic archive, I change the Google link to the archive link. So
that's the AudioFic
archive.
I have the link, Kasey. I'll share it with you.
AudioFic.gingerly.com.
Can you tech question? Can you embed directly to AO3 from that?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sandra, you're going to have to let me in all of the podfics in the Impala. I'm going to go ahead and fuck with all of them.
All right. That's going to be another Kasey to-do list that we'll do.
You love it. You love my Kasey's honeydew list.
I do. It's just, it really is amazing once you get into it, like all the things you have to be aware of, like when you create a podfic, because you do the art for it too, right?
Yes.
Cookie? Yeah. So that's another thing, like making art.
I shamelessly steal images from
I did, yeah. Would you
credit them though?
I'll tell you what, I never use anything that's fan art.
Yeah, just like
no, I was only kidding. I was only kidding.
I use like screen caps and I use like pictures of apples, and there is a place called what is it? I have to find it on my bookmarks. But there's a image spot that they are put up on Creative Commons. So as long as you credit the photographer, then you can use their stuff. So I've done that. Really some cool photos out there for that.
Yeah, it's a whole process, just like it is like just posting anything. Like if you have to post a fic, it's like I'm done with the fic, but now you got to post it on AO3, so it's a whole thing. But then when you're doing a podfic, you got to remember to do all the things. You've got to like write the descriptions. You got to do the artwork. You got to figure out how you're linking it, where you're putting it, make sure everything works. You
can't schedule posts on the archive.
The other really cool posting tool I found. I think it was somebody on the Podfic Discord recommended it. It's called Podfic Posting Helper.
Okay.
And basically you put in the link to the fic and it fills in all the tags, the rating. It just pulls almost everything over. The only thing I have to add is I have a personal tag, archive.org, so that I know that it's there. I don't do it again.
I wrote that down for you, Sandra.
Thank you.
and then it's just adding the link to the Google Drive, the link to the image. And if I go on my merry way, it saved me so much time, and it pulls over everything.
We're getting ready to post because we're doing. I wrangled Kasey and a few other writers together for the Pod Together 2025 that we're going to get ready to do. So
very easily wrangleable.
They've just finished writing the story, so I have to submit it to the mods tomorrow. But then now I'm getting like handed the baton to do the podficking, and I was like, Kasey, are you going to help me post the collection? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, okay, so this might make it even easier. Like, because usually I have HTML, that I usually like copy and paste, and I like add a little, I add where the image is and I add the links and all that. But the Podfic posting helper might be even easier.
I got it from GitHub, and it is AO3 Podfic Posting Helper.
Okay.
AO3.
And the other one is Blanket Permission Highlighter.
Okay. Because we were talking about how people are hard on themselves.
Yes.
What are you hardest on yourself about, like when it comes to your podfics? Do you have something that you constantly like or give yourself a hard time about? And then equally, what do you give yourself props for? Part of like podficking.
I used to be really hard on myself with podficking. I think I've just done so much now that I don't worry as much. I like what I do now. Generally speaking, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't be posting it.
Right.
I think probably the biggest thing is if I bobble a word and I didn't catch it on the edit, if there's a mispronunciation or perhaps a typo in the text that I should have realized was a typo and changed it to what it should have been. There was one in The Family That Flies Together that it's like, every time I hear it. It's like,
that's been happening to me too lately. There's one like specific thing in this one podfic that I really love of mine that I did. And every time it's coming up, I'm going, oh God, here we go. I'm just like, man. And I think I just said recently, like, I might just finally just like redo the line and like redo it. But I'm just thinking about all the work involved. I'm like, maybe when I just have time.
Yeah. I used to really give myself a bad time about bad splices. It's like when I've corrected a sentence and spliced it in, and it's really obvious.
Yeah.
It's like, I think I've gotten over that by just splicing bigger pieces.
Right. You can't really just do a word or a sentence. I think you learn that soon, because your tone, your pace, like even the sound that's coming, like that's around you could be different. And it's going to sound so obvious. Like when you just put that one word or sentence in, it's like you kind of have to figure out how far back do I have to go and actually record, just so that it sort of doesn't seem as obvious that I had to go back and edit this one spot. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things that helps with that is if I edit as close to when I record as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's a recipe for getting a bad splice if you're recording a week later.
Oh, yeah.
And, maybe your microphone's set on a different setting, or maybe there's something else going on in the environment that wasn't going on when you recorded. And it's just glaringly obvious.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. It's so technical in ways that I don't think anybody realizes until you start to play with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not an editor in any capacity, but I know like the bits and pieces that Sandra said. And I remember seeing, I think it was a Tumblr post, maybe might have been Reddit, I don't know, it was an internet post from somewhere, about like when people go and film in locations, and the sound guys will want just like a period of silence as well. Because if you transplant silence from a different place, it doesn't vibe right. You need the silence of the place that you're recording in. And that was wild to me, because I was like, silence.
That's the noise floor. Like you have to like have that, you have to know what it's like the ambiance of the area environment, so that if you do have to plug it in, you can kind of just
that was kind of an early discovery I made, because Audacity will insert silence,
but you don't want that.
Really obvious, and it's not the real silence.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't have the sound of my vent or whatever going on that you wouldn't notice unless it was gone.
Yeah,
and then you got they spliced something in here.
Yep, y'all are so clever. I could not.
Well, no, it's just for me. It was, I don't know, for me back. When did you, when you started, were you just Googling all of this stuff too? Like, how were you figuring all of this out, like, when you first started it?
In Audacity, it was basically looking at the menus.
And that they have a really robust manual.
They do. They have a lot of stuff. I was reading something recently from somebody who does voiceover, who was talking about, what equipment do you need? And she said, I don't recommend Audacity because it's so complicated. It's like, It is.
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's not complicated for me. All this other stuff is way super complicated. Like I said, audition, I was like, nope, I don't like this. This is very weird. There's too much going on. There's too many little windows and things. I'm like, no.
Yes.
So I think it just depends on what you start on and how much time you have to learn something new. Like, if you're in a bind, like I don't want to be spending 10 hours trying to learn a new system if I don't have to, kind of a situation. Like if I'm forced to and Audacity goes away, then I guess I'm screwed. But like, for right now, it's like, as long as I have this application that I can use, this is what I'm gonna use. Yeah.
You should see me, Sandra, when I have to put a video together the audio is longer than 3 hours. Because my like video editor won't tell you until it starts to render it, and then it'll just go nope, and it'll fail.
What do you use for video editing, Kasey?
It's the most basic, simple thing. Movie Maker video editor.
Okay.
Because our videos they're not videos, it's just a still image with the audio over it, just because you got to put something in there for YouTube. And it's super simple, and you just you can have your images stay 20 minutes, and then you got to put a new image in, and I know how to do it, but for some reason 3 hours and it goes nope. And then I'm over there on it used to be Windows Movie Maker. I don't remember what it's called now. Clip.
It's Clip. Clip. Yeah, I use that. Yeah,
I fucking hate that.
Yeah, I know, but it's it's the only thing available now, so it's like I guess I got to figure this out. So it's like Clip.
I will send you the Microsoft Store link to Movie Maker.
All right.
Seriously,
Microsoft and their forced upgrades. What the heck?
Well, you could in Movie Maker. I can put a second time in, and then I can tweak it. I can. How long do I want this image on screen for? And there are little up and down buttons, and I can move the timeline and make it. Clipchamp doesn't do that. You just got to eyeball that shit. And I'm like, but I know that I need at least 2 hours and 57 fucking minutes of this. Why I gotta drag it all across the screen? Just let me put 2 hours and 57 minutes in and then tweak it from there.
Well, the reason I ask is because I'm thinking of doing a YouTube channel with public domain works.
Oh, neat.
Cool.
Super. That sounds awesome.
I thought that might be fun.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe doing a TikTok and read poems that are in public domain.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love that idea. I love that idea.
But I know jack about video.
Movie maker, easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be awesome. Because I know that there's I think when I first started, I wanted to get involved. There's a site that like you can read public domain works, or you can like opt in to like, and they'll give people the option to read works in the public domain. I'm blanking on it now. I don't know.
Project Gutenberg?
Yes, that one. I think because there's that one for audio and stuff to create audiobooks for like stuff like that. So I that was like when I was first trying to figure out the narration. So I said, let me give this a try. And I think it was just to figure out like, can I submit something that somebody will say, yes, this meets this and this requirements. And then that got me involved in other narration and stuff like that. Gosh, Cookie, I could talk to you all day. We're I know you mentioned Podfic communities. So I think I'm in the same Discord that you're in that has like a multi-voice project thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So that one. So in terms of challenges and like group projects, do you just, it sounded like you had done certain things like that, but then kind of don't anymore. Are there ones that you would like maybe suggest to someone who might be interested?
There's a lot of fun ones. I mean, the fandoms have them sometimes where podfics are welcome. You know, I'm thinking of, I don't think it happens anymore, but the Losers Anti-Up Challenge accepted stories and podfics. There's one called Out of the Auditory.
Okay.
That is basically podfics of unusual things.
Okay.
So if it's a story that's told in the, if you look at my AO3, for example, there's one called Peer Reviewed, which is just academics commenting on each other's work, and that's the story.
Oh, okay.
It's in the old guard. So you basically have me and 2 friends of mine did the reviewers. So it's kind of an enemies to friends to lovers thing.
Neat.
with Nicolo De Genova and Yusuf Al-Khazani from the old guard.
Okay. Basically
sniping each other. That was interesting. So that's called Out of the Auditory.
Okay.
Auditory, sorry. And then you mentioned Pod Together. I've never done Pod Together.
Okay.
And there's also like Voice Team. I can't not mention Voice Team, which happens in the springtime.
I tried that last year. I think my lurker introvert just did not get into that. I think it was a little too much for me. So, I mean, I think it's great what they do for it. But for me, I was just like, I think it overwhelmed me a little bit. Like, I think the being put on a team for me just didn't kind of like, I didn't gel with that right away. Like with Pod Together, I could like bring people in that I wanted to work with kind of a situation. Yeah. So I really like that. And I'm doing the summer Podfic swap this year. And I'm like, I need to stop. I realize now I'm not going to stop doing all these challenges. I think I've just set myself up for failure. But now it's like a Podfic swap that I'm doing as well. Because I think, and I don't know, because you said you don't write, like you did write, but you don't really write as much. But for me,
you asked what I'm hard on myself about writing.
Yeah.
Writing.
Yeah.
From an early age, people were saying, "Oh, you're such a good writer." And I don't know. I just developed this defense against that. It's like, I'm not that good. So it's kind of a mental thing for me. I don't actually think I'm that terrible a writer.
Right. Yeah.
It's hard to get over that hump and actually write.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I interrupted your question.
Oh,
sorry.
No. I was just, because I think I was just commenting on the fact that like with the challenge, I think like selfishly, I was like, well, I'd like somebody to podfic one of my things. So I was like, with the Podfic swap, like the podficker, you have to do like it's a Dear Podficker letter. Kasey, I don't know if you know this, but like where you basically like, it's like you're writing to a podficker and you're telling them, this is what I like. This is what I'd like to write, or this is what I'd like somebody to podfic for me. So like very selfishly, like in it, I'm just like, I would just like somebody to podfic, like Dean/reader or Dean/OFC, preferably one of my fics that I've written would be great. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but like putting that out there, it's kind of like, so I don't know. Have you ever had anything that you've written podfic for you?
Yes, actually.
Oh, what was that? What was that experience like?
It was one of my Stargate Atlantis fics, the longest one. And it's the one that it used to be my top hits on AO3 through probably 2022 is still top. But it's 6 Days from Oblivion, I think is the name of it. But yes, somebody did a challenge and they did my fic. And I think it was an amplificathon, which isn't something that happens anymore. It started on LiveJournal.
Okay.
The amplificathon challenge, and really joining a challenge like that can really be an accelerator of your work, because that's probably when it really took off for me, is when I started participating in amplificathon. What kind of put the brakes on for me was doing charity auction stuff.
Okay. Yeah, you were mentioning.
That's not something that works well for me. As probably people who have bid on my work have found out.
So does that just mean that pretty much like, are you just opening yourself up? Like, do you still get to pick like what you would narrate, or is it really, you kind of have to be
the way I wrote
anything?
And it's part of it is how I said it. It's like, I'll do anything, anyway. It's like, no, it's like, I'll do these particular fandoms, would have been a better way to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think I finally got all of my charity auction stuff done, years later.
Yeah.
Except for one which had been taken down. And now I feel bad. But, I don't feel bad that Doctors Without Borders got the money, but it's like, that person who bid thinking I was going to do it got cheated. And now I can't find the fic that it was. So that's what happened.
I'm just going to haul us back though. Okay. What do you give yourself props for? Because you skillfully avoided that question. And I'm going to pull it back and be like, no, tell me what. Tell me what.
Okay.
Hype yourself. Tell me what you think you do that is the best.
I think that I do character voices very well because I'm not trying to do an impression. I mean, nobody would ever confuse me for Chris Pine, for example, for doing a Star Trek voice. But they know when Spock's speaking and when Kirk is speaking.
Yeah.
And I think if you listen to one of my Supernatural fics, you would know when Sam was speaking and when Dean was speaking. And I think presenting the emotions of the characters is something that I do very well.
Yes, I would agree. Because I was listening to a few things today, like one of your more recent ones, and the Where There's Smoke one. I really, I really enjoyed that one immensely. And I was telling Kasey, because Kasey not as much of a like listening to podfics. Occasionally they'll be like, "This is a really good one that you did," but like they don't like, and they sit in the smut closet with me and hold my hand and make sure all the tech stuff goes the way that it needs to go. But I know that audio stuff is not necessarily like, their go-to, but the 5 things Dean taught Sam how to do was the sweetest damn thing I've heard in such a long time. It was just Dean being the sweetest parent ever, and just these little snippets of like moments, and
can't wait to go listen
the
to
voices of them younger, little Sammy, like when they're doing the operation, and like it's just I find the same thing too. Like, I feel like you have to if you can get the tone and maybe the delivery right, people will forgive that you don't sound like Dean Winchester or Sam Winchester or Castiel. It's like, get the feeling and emotion right, and that works. And I feel like you do that beautifully in the stuff that I've listened to, because I listened to a few more things. I listened to, I can't remember the name of it, but the fic that you did for Dragonard Hill, just all of that stuff that I was listening to, I was like, yep, you take your time really presenting the characters and how they're feeling in the moment. I feel like you sit with that, and that's really important. It's not just reading words on a page and stuff, because you can have a spot on impression, but it still feel kind of hollow, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that can turn people off, I think, to a certain extent. Because, yeah, you can sound like a character, but are you feeling what the character's feeling?
Right.
In that moment. So,
well, thank you. Thank you. I like to think that.
Yes.
I like to think that I do that well.
Do you have some favorite podfickers that you really love to listen to?
There is a podficker called Penny Plain Knits that I could listen to all day long. I mentioned Juice 817 in the Supernatural / J2 fandom, big favorite of mine. There's just so many out there.
Yeah.
So many.
Well, I think that's the thing too. If you don't know, if you're not looking for it, you won't know. Like I was finally like, let me actually see who else is doing this stuff. And I was like, wow. I'm like, there's so many people.
Yeah.
So I think, like you said, getting involved in different challenges, communities, and then kind of like digging into what people like to narrate and stuff really kind of like, it really opens up this whole other world that people just aren't aware of.
There was a French podficker that did a lot in the Stargate Atlantis fandom and then in the Marvel fandom. She just did such a good job because even though there's, an obvious French accent and she's speaking for John Shepard, who's a colonel in the United States Air Force, it's like, you just do not care that there's a French accent. You just do not care.
Yeah.
Because it's just so you're into the story. And she was able to pull you into the story regardless of the fact that, it's a French accent.
Yeah.
And it's an American TV show.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that's really beautiful about it, because people have hang-ups about their accents a lot. People have hang-ups about their voice.
Yeah.
Because you don't hear your voice the way the microphone hears your voice.
Right. Yeah.
And if I could just make one wish for anybody who wants to make a podfic, it would be for that fear to go away. Because it just does not matter.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're putting out a solid story and you're reading it like you mean it, it just doesn't matter. Just really doesn't.
Out of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of podfics that you've done, do you have a particular favorite of yours? It's okay if you don't, but do you have one that's like just an overall favorite of yours?
I do. There's one called Retrograde.
Okay.
That's in the Old Guard fandom that is very near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
There's also Fast Car, as I mentioned earlier, is probably the favorite one I did in the Supernatural fandom. I also did one, it's called Infinite Diversity and Infinite Combinations, which is in the Star Trek fandom, that I actually listen to myself over and over again.
Okay.
So I've gotten to where I do listen to my own podfics more than I ever did before. And I think it's just because I've spent so much time with them. It's like I'm not quite ready to let them go.
It's a comfort thing, I find. Like I use them to fall asleep too. Like I'll put one of my podfics on. I'm like, okay, here we go. And it's just like, there's something about it. And I, like you said, I think to go from a place where like you can't stand the sound of your voice to then you're falling asleep to the sound of your voice. It's like that's a big growth, I think, for people that do this. I've loved getting to talk to you. Kasey has some questions. Then we're going to do a little wrap up final question. But yes, I've loved this. This has been awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. This has been just so much fun.
Good. Yay. Kasey, question.
All right. So question the first. If you'd like to share, like no worries if you don't, or you prefer to keep it private, but how'd you come up with your username?
It's the funniest
littles
thing.
like cookies?
Yeah, it's really bizarre. It was a long time ago. There was a site that stopped allowing people to use their email for their username. So I had to come up with a username. And at that time, I was the cookie mom for my daughter's Girl Scout troop.
Aww. Okay. Nice.
And they don't call it Cookie Mom anymore. They call it Cookie Manager because there's plenty of dads that do it now. But I just did Cookie Mom, and then that's part of my zip code.
Gotcha.
6067.
Very nice. That's cute.
So that's what that is.
That's cute.
I love that. That's it. Me and Sandra all feel like, oh my god, that's adorable.
Yeah, that Girl Scout's now 30, so I've had my username for a while.
I will have less of this reminding of the marching of time, please. My littles are still little, and they will remain that way forever.
They do remain little forever. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you for justifying my lies. Alrighty, last question, secret question. And you know what? I'll actually get a proper response for this because you won't have listened to any other episodes. So you won't know what it is. But adults don't ask other adults this question enough, and I am on a one mortal mission to change that. So, Cookie Mom, what is your favorite dinosaur?
My favorite dinosaur.
Yes.
Absolutely Triceratops.
Yes! Fuck yes! I got Triceratops love in here. I love that.
That's been a very popular one recently from people
They are
that
the
we've had.
coolest looking dinosaur. Absolutely.
They are, and you were ready
And
with
they
that
don't
as
eat
well.
other dinosaurs.
Not eat other dinosaurs, but you were ready. You weren't like, why the fuck would you ask me that? You were like, no, I have an answer to this. God, nobody's asked me, and I'm ready.
I'm just rolling with it.
Awesome.
I've got to ask before we do like this last question. Have you seen the convention video where Jared and Jensen are talking to someone named Cookie?
No.
Okay, I am sending you that. We're going to find that video and I'm going to send it to you. It is hilarious. And ever since I've, you said, call me Cookie. Kasey, you know which one I'm talking about, right? Do you know which video I'm talking about? Or are you blanking?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. I'm going to send it to you. It's raunchy and hilarious and just so great. I'm going to send you that, but so stay tuned. I'll send it to you in an email probably soon after we get done, Cookie, and then you'll have to let me know what you think.
You know what?
That video.
You know what I was thinking about though, talking about like reading stuff in the public domain and stuff. Mm-hmm. Have you heard Jared and Jensen reading The Raven by Poe?
No.
Oh, we got to send that too.
No, I would love to hear that.
It's not. They're both just reading just a little bit of it. It's not the full story. But Jensen's kind of like goofing around with it. But Jared is really into the reading of it, and it's like when you watch somebody enjoy something, and you're like, oh my gosh, look at you. Such a fucking baby.
That's the best, isn't it?
Yeah. Isn't it so good though? I will hit you up with a link for that.
And I'm doing.
Sandra's got you with the Cookie. I got you with the Poe. Yeah. We're all good.
So before we say goodbye, because this has been great. I've loved getting the chance to just talk to you about all of this stuff involving podficing and your journey in fandom and all these things. And I know you've kind of like peppered in some advice here and there. But if somebody's considering, like as we wrap it up, if somebody's thinking, I think I might want to try, doing a podfic. What advice would you give them if you had to just give them one or two sentences? Because they might be like, I don't know. What would you tell them?
There's two pieces of advice I have. One is if you can get hooked up with a multi-voice project, that you're not entirely responsible for the whole thing. That's a great way to start. That's how I started. The other thing I'd recommend is just find a short one. Just find a ficlet and, do a 2-minute, 4-minute, 5-minute one. And you don't even have to post it. It's just about getting over that hump of recording your voice and hearing your voice and figuring out the technical aspects. And, just join a community. That's a great way to get involved. It's a great way to get advice. Yeah. But those are my two big pieces of advice.
Great. That's great.
Love that. Thank you.
But we would love to I'd love to keep in touch with you too and just pick your brain about podficking and stuff. And maybe we can have you come back for like another visit, maybe in 2026 or something. We'll figure out another topic or whatever. But if you'd love to come back, we'd love to have you.
Always.
I don't think so. This has been just so much fun.
Good.
And
Yay.
I'm just so glad you asked and flattered and honored to be here.
Well, you've done a lot for the fandom. And like I said, once I heard Dragonard Hill's story, and then I really looked into just your whole thought process on fandom in general, I was just like, I hope she wants to come on and chat with us because I knew it was going to be fun. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What we usually do is we do a little outro after our guests leave. If you need me to kick you out, I can. I will not report you to Zoom, but otherwise, feel free to exit whenever you want. But we are just so grateful you took the time with us today.
Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us.
Thank you, Cookie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
And have a great rest of your day as well.
This has been so fun. I could have probably talked to her for another hour, but we had
another
stuff to
hour easily.
Yeah. What did you think for like our first podficcers? And what
that was awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome. I think because I obviously I knew you and we've had such a close relationship, close working relationship as well. In terms of like everything for the podcast, I feel like I kind of have a different side of the process from you. So hearing how someone who I don't know at all, I don't know well, but I don't know at all, kind of approaches it and does it was super, super fucking interesting. Super interesting.
I love getting to talk to other creators like this too. Like I said, just getting to hear everybody's journey, because Cookie has been in fandom for a really long time. And especially just even in the podficking portion of it, like it's 15 years. That's incredible. And like I said, I know it's probably been more than that, but like from what I could find, and the amount of stuff, and like I've got a list now of stuff I need to find of hers just to listen to, like that Fast Cars one. Got to listen to that. I really want to give other creator types, if they want to come on and chat with us, just the opportunity to just talk about their stuff. Because I think if we keep like drilling down, how like we think there's always this tier system. I think we've talked about this before in like fandom creativity. Like I think fan art for a while has like always been at the very tippy top, right? And then maybe fanfic has been like the weird cousin that like people like nah. Sometimes I think podfic, because it's kind of even more underground than that, because it's like, you're you know what I mean? It's like you're taking you're not just taking IP, you're taking someone else's interpretation of IP and then doing something else with it, that there's all these other parts to it that like, unless you really know about it or you're searching it out for a reason, because like she was saying, accessibility, you might not even know or even take the time to listen. And it's worth giving a shot to listen to podfics. If you've never listened to one, you didn't think you might like to, give one a try. Give one a try in a fandom that you like and adore, a ship that you like, and just give them a comment and a kudos. Like Cookie said, those things ensure stuff keeps getting put out. Yeah.
Tip your waiters and comment your creators.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, I'm so proud
look at that. Look at that.
No, I do think we're kind of, I mean, this is linked to a much wider societal issue, which we won't get into now. But I think like audio books in every form is becoming more, I don't want to say mainstream or accepted, but like I think the purist mindset that listening to books isn't reading, that was quite prevalent. I think that's kind of going away now. Especially linked with like more people are adults are coming to terms with being neurodivergent and kind of putting those pieces together. It's being spotted much easier in children. So from an accessibility standpoint, having access to something that you don't have to sit down and read, because maybe that's something you struggle with, but you can listen. And that's, I think with that becoming more mainstream, I would love to see that kind of reflected in fandom as well, with podfics and narration and things like that, because it's just as valid an art form, and like you can clean while you do it. I mean, I don't, but you could if you were so inclined. You can also sit and like, I went through a phase of audiobooks, and I would listen to them while I was crafting things, because I like, me, I have to be debuffed by hand to do. But I could, as long as I wasn't crafting anything that I really had to focus on, if I had to do something mindless, that really helped. So from an accessibility point, and not just from a neurodivergent point, as we said, people with vision issues and things like that, and it just opens the world up in such a wonderful way that I think we should all be striving for that accessibility in fandom as much as we're striving to make it accessible in the real world as well. It's always a strive, isn't it, guys? I'm sorry,
but I love that part of the fandom too. Like as it's just the giving back and the sharing of stuff. And I think that I think Cookie represents that really, really well in all of the stuff that she's done for multiple fandoms over the years. So I hope she keeps doing the thing. So we are going to wrap up because we have a bunch of stuff to do today, but
it's a recording day and we have shit to do as always.
We want to thank you for listening and let us know what you thought of this episode, this first Podficker episode that we've done with a great creator. You can email us at idlingintheimpala@gmail.com. You can comment on Spotify in the Q&A section. You can leave a YouTube comment, join our Discord, and chat with fellow idlers and us in real time. Check out our merch store, which is another fun way to show your support. You can find details for everything on our website. That's idlingintheimpala.com. Want to fuel our supernatural road trip? Consider joining us on Ko-fi for as little as $1 a month. We have perks to go along with different membership tiers and would love to have you along for the ride.
Speaking of perks, we've got special shout-outs for some of our Ko-fi members. From our Shotgun Picks the Music tier, we have Runaway Dreamer, Crowley's Mistress, Sam and Dean 76, Elia, and Charlie. Thanks for picking the tunes in the car and keeping the lights on in the bunker. Support like yours keeps our podcast going. Don't forget, you can always support us for free by liking, commenting, subscribing on YouTube, and following, rating, sharing on audio platforms. Engagement like that really helps us with the algorithm. All hail their benevolence. As always, we have the causes we support in the description. So for me, you have LGBTQ plus talking charities. From Sandra, you have mental health charities. And of course, the main causes that we are always highlighting, championing, spotlighting are World Central Kitchen and Doctors Without Borders, which Cookie Mom mentioned just a little while ago. If you want to know more about those causes, why we're supporting them, what they mean to us, check out idlingintheimpala.com. There's a page there called Causes Cause with all the details. So with that, we will say thank you to Cookie Mom for joining us. Thank you for joining us in the backseat, and we will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.